Hello, and welcome back to the Beekeeper's Wife Soap Studio. In this video, I'm making a small slab of my Heavenly Luxury Soap. I'm going to be showing you a few tips along the way, and mostly talking about how I do the piping on top. Let's get started. For this batch, you see me pouring an in the pot swirl, and you'll notice I go in one direction when I'm pouring, and that's so that the swirls show up in the direction that you cut the soap. Now I'm just gently tapping on the top of the soap. Just tap with my spoon to smooth the top instead of swiping. It causes the soap batter to stay intact on the inside. The next thing you see me doing here is marking my loaf lines. That way when I do my design, I can stay inside those lines and I have a more accurate line on top when I do my piping. Of course, if you're a smaller batch maker and you make your soap in loaves, you can skip this step. The trick here is to drag your skewer lightly across the top so you don't dig too far down inside of the soap. I really love to use these stainless steel barbecue skewers. They work perfectly and they're a little bit pointed on the end so you get a very defined line. Next, I like to add some textured swirls on top for some interest below the piping. And you'll see me taking my skewer around the sides of the soap. And here's why I do that. Whenever you pour or texture your soap, it's inevitable that you're going to get soap around the sides of your mold. And it makes it kind of messy when you go to unmold and you get little bits and messy pieces. When you take the skewer around the sides, it cleans all that up for you. Once I'm all done with the slab, I go ahead and give it a shimmy and a shake. Next, I'm putting my reserved soap batter into the piping bag. I stick the piping bag down into a cylinder style Tupperware. It just holds it up for me and it's easier to pour in. I wait until my batter is a pretty thick trace before I put it into the piping bag. If your batter is still too thin, you can use your stick blender and mix it up until it's thick. I use reusable silicone piping bags that have the coupler and my tip on it. I cut the end off of the bag that has the soap in it and I get started. You see my oops there. I forgot to test my batter by holding the bag upright over a paper towel. If the batter starts dripping out on its own without squeezing, it's not quite ready yet. I've been doing this long enough that I knew it was set up enough that if I kept going, it would still work out. You just don't want to hover too long and let it drip. And of course, this is the fun part. This particular tip is similar to the M1 or the 1M. It's a 2F. I got this set on Amazon. It was $5.99 for a set of 3 tips. For anyone new to piping soap, I recommend making a 1-pound batch and then practicing. Just get different tips, try different styles. As long as it's not too thick, you can scrape it all up, put it back in the bag, and start piping again. I used to practice on some freezer paper, and now I have a silicone mat that I got on Makesy. As you can see, it isn't always exactly straight, but that doesn't matter because when you cut the bars, nobody will ever know because it's not all lined up on the loaf. I hope you found these tips useful and enjoyed watching my video. Next time I do some piping on top of the soap, I'll try to do a more focused video showcasing more of that process. Be sure and drop your questions in the comments so that I can talk about them in a future video. Thanks for watching.